good evening. New details tonight in the shooting death of a Franklin County woman.
Now, this is a Roanoke County murder case that caught a lot of people's attention last May. As we've reported, police have charged these three people and a teenager in connection to the death of 35-year-old Amber Ross.
But now one of them has entered a plea. And 10 News reporter Tommy Lopez was inside. We learned today that that person was actually involved in setting up the robbery that led to her death.
There's confirmation today that this is a tragic case of a woman who was accidentally shot and killed a year ago. Here today, for the first time, we saw the man who was holding the gun as he waived his right to a trial.
Aaron Witcher accepted a plea agreement to serve 16 years of a 58-year sentence. On charges for second-degree murder, robbery, and 2 gun charges, he pleaded no contest, admitting that there's enough evidence to convict him. The Commonwealth's attorney says the robbery of the man living at this house on Overland Drive in the Cave Spring area was an inside job. Ross was there, feeding information.
Miss Ross is texting Mr. Witcher about what's going on inside the house.
Witcher texts her, "Where are the dogs? Inside? Is the door closed?" Later, Ross texts this, referring to drugs. "It's not all in here. He has one box somewhere else. I'm going to try to distract him." Then, right before the shooting, Ross says, "Lady has a phone in her hand in the kitchen as soon as you walk in." The prosecution confirms what we reported a year ago. The shooting was an accident. Witcher burst into the house, and during a struggle with the man who lives there, Witcher's gun goes off.
When the gun goes off, there's one bullet that is fired that goes to the neck of Miss Ross, killing Miss Ross, and that bullet ends up lodging into the wall right behind her.
Witcher chose not to speak on his own behalf in court. His attorney said this.
He never intended to kill anyone. Mr. Witcher did not wish this upon Miss Ross and would extend the sympathies to her family.
3 other people face charges in this case. Police say this woman, Shamby Walker, also helped set up the robbery and fled the scene afterward. A man who was 17 at the time was with Witcher during the robbery. And this man, Andrew Jeffers, was the getaway driver.
The Commonwealth's attorney says it's uncertain what the charges will be for those remaining defendants. In Salem, I'm Tommy Lopez, 10 News, working for you.